Well, hello there, and welcome to this episode of Grow Wealthy Grooming. I am your host, River Lee. Thank you guys so much for being here. As always, I'm having technical difficulties. I know you're shocked. Everything looks pretty solid. I'm not entirely sure why it's not allowing me to view the live streaming situation on YouTube, but it is what it is, and that's what we can do right now. I do have my comments up on my Facebook. So, on YouTube. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up. So as you guys comment, I can view the live chat. So hi, Brianna Glass. Great to see you. So like I said, we're going to make do with what we got. That's the way it goes, right? So let's go ahead and talk about today's topic. So what is today's topic? We're going to have a tale of two different shoes. Now, I know that sounds really corny, and it is, but that makes me happy, so you'll get over it. I'm going to move some stuff around. Give me 1 second, guys. Making it work. Got my little chat up so I can say hi to everyone that's going to be here live with me. And if you guys are watching the stream via Facebook, you're more than welcome to hop on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/Savvy Groomer, and that's Savvy with 2 V's. I want to thank you guys so much for you guys to be here with me live. It really means a lot to me. It's so much more fun to do these things live. If you guys were with me yesterday on Groomer House, it was really fun to interact live. And I'm sorry for the background. You guys know how it goes. Things are always getting worked out. Things are always working out. And it's more important to me to be live here. Hey, Savannah, good to see you. She said, finally done grooming early enough to catch her live. Yay! And we've got Lynn from Groomer Docs. If you guys have not checked out Groomer Docs, you really need to. They're absolutely amazing. We actually did a live with Lynn from Groomer Docs before. It's been amazing. So really quickly, let me give you the rundown on what today. Oh, if you guys don't know who I am, this is the first time on the channel, very much welcome. My name is River Lee. I'm the founder of the Savvy Groomer, where I teach pet professionals all about personal finance and building a business on their terms. It's really important to me for you not to only make profit, but also enjoy your passions. So let's go ahead today and talk about a tale of two shoes. So if you are wondering what kind of shoes, you're obviously not looking at the thumbnail. That's okay. So, again, this is not a humble brag. This is not anything meant to be that way. But I went and I bought myself a pair of Louboutin shoes. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the differences between the physical heels I have and the experience in the stores. So there is no right or wrong. So I'm moving this out of the way. And if you guys see, I always have our Greedy Bitch attire here from Groomer Gifts. So let's talk about two different shoes. I have my wonderful, these are from Clark's. They're a very sensible shoe. They're really cute. They're really comfortable. And I'm going to use heels because everyone has their own opinion about what are, Crocs or this or that. So let's just talk heels for a few minutes, right? And Lynn is saying she's jealous. Yes, queen. Yes. It's been on my bucket list to buy them. But anyway, let me talk about that in a minute. So these are really awesome, sensible shoes. They have great padding. These actually have padding all the way in, if you can see. Now, these are not Louboutins. These are what are called Clark's. These are probably the most comfortable heel I have ever worn in my life. These are very cute. I have a fat foot. So my little fat foot fits really well in here. I have a wide, short foot. So I'm anywhere between a US 6 to 7. I'm generally a 6.5. But this is a very well-constructed shoe. You can see all this is one piece. The heel is one piece, so the heel's not going to break off. This shoe, guys, is $100. Now, I want you to look at the difference between this shoe and this shoe, right? So this is a $100 shoe, and this is a $700 shoe. Now, when I first look at them, one's shiny and one's not, right? And I ended up getting the patent leather just because they didn't have my size shoe in the regular leather. Otherwise, I would have gotten the regular leather. But this is very similar. It is also constructed very well. It's all one piece, which is very important, by the way, if you guys don't know that about heels. As somebody who occasionally breaks things, and by occasionally I mean a lot, it's well constructed. I ended up having to get this design because the toe box is wider. Because again, I have a short, fat foot. But the main thing about this is, of course, the red heel. And so when I look at these two shoes side by side, are you okay there, little man? I think he's hiccuping. Do these really look all that different? Does this one and this one really look like this one should be $700 and this one should be $100? This one has less padding. I picked this design because it is less of a foot coffin, but they're not known to be comfortable. They're not known to be the kind of shoes that you would want to walk around in. This shoe I can work around all day. So this is my practical shoe, and this is a sexy shoe. So let's talk about why this shoe experience was not nearly as magical as this shoe. And I want to hold this shoe because I won't lie, this shopping experience was one of the best shopping experiences I've ever had. It was such a good experience. I want to overpay 7 times for shoes that hurt my feet. So first things first, when I walked in, I had no intention of buying this heel. You think about it and it's on your list, right? Melissa is saying we need to wear our shoes. Yes, to Super Zoo Vegas. Absolutely. So when I went in to look at this shoe, it wasn't even this shoe particularly. I just like to walk into nice places. I was in Boston. A friend of mine was like, hey, do you want to go up to Boston for the weekend? I'm like, yes, please. That would be amazing. So we went sailing. We had a great time. And then on Sunday, it was pouring rain. So what do you do when it's pouring rain? You go to the mall. And there they have, they have Christian Louboutin. They have Louis Vuitton. They have Dior. They've got Gucci. And so I decided that I wanted to, just try it on, just look around. And so when I walked in, first of all, I was not super cute, which I thought was really interesting. I guess I assumed wrong that because when I dress nice, people treat me nice. But when I walked into this store, and again, I don't know if this is going to be every Christian Louboutin, but I do know that this was my experience, right? And this reminds me again why pricing, not value, right, doesn't matter. So when I walked in, I was treated very respectfully. They asked me if I would like a drink. They literally had either Perrier or they offered me if I wanted a little bit of champagne, which was really crazy. And they're just like, oh, take your time. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And so the woman, and we don't need to name names, I just said to her, I said, your shoes are so beautiful, but they're like foot coffins. And instead of being offended, because that's kind of a vaguely offensive comment, isn't it, guys? Telling someone that their merchandise is like a foot coffin. She laughed it off and she said, I can totally understand how you would feel that way. And then she went into the reasons that these are a little more slender. And she said, I can totally understand that. And she didn't name other names. She's like, there are many other manufacturers that will make them wider. And she explained that the reason this one is very slender is because it gives your foot more lift, even though this is actually not a super high heel. And I had explained that, I get really ugly toe cleavage and I hate the way it looks. And she explained to me the reason why, because of the slant and this and that. And it was done all very sweetly and just very matter of fact. Because guess what? She didn't care if I bought those shoes or not. And that woman, I promise you, makes commission. So, she said to me, if there's something you're interested in seeing, let me know. If you're looking for something in particular, she's like, we don't keep all the shoes out. We sometimes keep them in. And I asked her why. And she said, well, we don't think it's very fair to show people shoes that they can't have. And I said, can you please explain that to me? And she had said that some of them were limited edition, some of them were invite only shoes. And so, of course, you're getting more interested. You're like, oh, well, what are these limited edition shoes? And she just explained that there are certain shoes they keep back for their regular customers, that they offer them their shoes. And then if they don't want them, then they will offer them to the general public. And I thought, what a fascinating thing, and we talk about this all the time about pricing and scheduling and making sure that we are taking good care of our regulars. So that was very interesting to me. And so I brought up again, I said, your shoes are so beautiful, but they hurt my feet and they don't fit me very well. And then she asked me, well, tell me what is going on when you put these shoes on. And the first thing I said was, well, you've got that shiny patent leather and it doesn't stretch. And she said, well, in a good shoe with patent leather, it should stretch. It will not stretch any different than a traditional shoe, traditional leather. But that there were ways of doing that without cracking it. And then she proceeded to tell me, which was really fun. She said, what we would highly suggest actually is to put this shoe in your car, let it heat up slowly, like an oven in the trunk. And then when it's hot, put it on your foot and sit down and watch a movie when it's on your feet. And I said, okay, that makes sense. And she explained it to me. So again, this person was selling me through conversation and adding value very quickly to this brand, right? Very quickly to this sale. And I'm like, okay, well, I could see that. And then I said, well, I don't want to buy it because I know this red bottom is just paint. And what am I going to do when this paint comes off? I don't want to spend all this money for a red bottom. And so she very simply pulled up another shoe and she said, well, she's like, we actually suggest that you go ahead and you enjoy your red sole and it is going to come off. She's like, then you can either have the lacquer put on. But then she pulled out a shoe that already had this red rubber sole. And she said, well, this is only $65. She said, and they have to sand down the red anyway, so you might as well enjoy wearing down the red. But that you can go ahead and enjoy your shoe, destroy the bottom, and then they will fix it for you for $65. Now, for $100, would I fix a sole, a paint sole? Nothing wrong with the bottom of the shoe except the red is gone. Would I fix that in this $100 shoe? Probably not. But when it's a $700 shoe, $65 is a steal, right, guys? So they're creating, with their pricing structure, value, aren't they? Because $65 to fix a sole is, hi, I know, we've got a little friend here. Fixing a $65 sole on this shoe, right, is exactly how it goes. However, this shoe, it seems like a deal. So, and then of course I'm like, well, that's good. That makes sense. And then what am I going to do with my toe box situation? And she said, I know, Fire loves my shoes too. He's all saying hi. He gets super snuggly when he gets his line cut. He gets his line cut for two reasons. One, so my mom can practice her line cuts. And then two, because cat hair makes us money. So if you're a CFMG, you can save cat hair and sell it. It's worth about $100 a pound. So he is just a little fur creating machine. And I will use that. Right? So here it goes, right? So they're coming over these objections very naturally. They're not offended. I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek. I'm being a little rude, right? I'm not being the nicest, right? I'm literally calling their shoe a foot coffin. And so she said, I just want to let you know, we do have again, using scarcity, a limited edition version that has this little side. And you can see here, instead of it being straight, it's sideways. And the reason they did that is because it creates more room in your toe box. And again, if you look up here, normally it's the same. So the toe box would actually be significantly smaller. Now, is this shoe as comfortable as this shoe? Of course it's not. But what this shoe makes me feel is different than this shoe. So what else did she do? Well, it made me feel like an experience. She said, walk around the store, see how you feel. Do you feel empowered? Do you feel sexy? Like, what does this shoe make you feel? And I'm not a dumb person. I know I'm being sold to. And honestly, I don't care, because these people know that they're selling an experience. They are selling being a part of something, feeling something. It is not just something you wear to look a little cute, little preppy, right? It's something to elevate you. So when I ended up working with this, I thought to myself, okay, well, this is a bit of an extraordinary splurge, right? This would be a lot of money to spend. And there are certain items that are on my list to buy. I wanted a Louis Vuitton Neverfull. I bought that. I want a Mercedes, not a Sprinter. It's on my list. There's certain luxury items that I have in my 30-30-30. If you guys were a part of the Badass Cat Conference, we talked about 30-30-30s. 30 things you want to be, 30 things you want to do, and 30 things you want to own. Well, this was on my 30 list. And in that moment, I decided to buy it. And I decided to buy it because of the way the salesperson made me feel, because of the way the shoe made me feel. And it was, now again, this salesperson could just be going above and beyond, but what she did was that she tied it in a bow. She asked me if I wanted to take a picture in the store, and I was like, yes, I do. And I mean, it's just a really cute picture. She's like, oh, just go ahead and look at the shoes and look like you're really having a good time. And she wanted it to be a whole experience. And it was just so well sold. And I won't lie, it was something like where I was like, yeah, you know what? I really want this. I don't need this. I want this. And this makes me feel good. And there's no buyer remorse the next day. Because when I pulled them out and I said, boy, this is 7 cats. This is, 2 days, a day's worth of work. But there's something about holding this shoe that makes me feel so much better than this shoe. Even though the shoe is more comfortable, this shoe is a better value, this shoe is more practical. So let's consider that for a second. When you are marketing, are you Clark's or are you Louboutins? And if you're Louboutins, you need to remember the way that you are going to market yourself. They do not market themselves as comfortable or practical. They do not, right? If you think about it, the reason I wanted this is because of the emotional feeling I had purchasing this. There was no emotional feeling when I purchased this. It was just a practical, made a lot of sense to buy. So, and let's be honest here too. We can say, oh, well, this person manipulated you. They were salesy. They were this, they were that. That's not really true. If you know me, I'm not an idiot. I know what I'm being sold to. I'm wildly aware. But it doesn't change that I like to feel all the things that everyone likes to feel. I mean, if I just wanted a red bottom, I could just paint this red, couldn't I? But it's not the same. When I walked into this store to buy my Clark, they're not rude people, they're not bad people, but they were incredibly indifferent to me. They just let me know if you need anything, and they went back to their phone or chatting or helping people. And then I was like, well, I'm looking for a black leather shoe. Black leather shoes are on the floor, on the wall. Go look for the black heels. I found one, and this is my, I hate to call it this, but it's like, this is like my funeral shoe. This is like my safe, easy, just wear this shoe. And when I bought it, it was a very rational purchase. It was like, well, this. And then when I bought it, I want you guys to think about how I felt. If this shoe had been $300, I would not have bought it. Because I'm using my rational state of mind to make a purchase. And when we're talking about pricing, guys, why is this a good value? Because it has a red bottom at $700. And this is an okay deal at $100, even though it's way more comfortable and way more practical. It is marketing. It is branding. It is all of those things. It is all of the things that we forget to include. We forget to make our marketing sexy. We always market to people in a way that is boring and practical. Good, bad, or indifferent, right? When we talk to somebody, we talk about the products we use. We talk about the haircut. We talk about, oh, I have this education. We don't talk about how we're going to make them feel or make their dog feel or their cat. And when we do that effectively, they can see more value. I was talking to someone very recently, and it was on one of our price increase masterclasses graduates, and they were on their coaching call. If you guys are interested in joining our price increase masterclass, that is available still. We are going to be starting August 2nd. I would highly suggest, if you guys are interested in signing up, it is an investment, $600, but I promise you, you will definitely make your money back. Every single person that took this masterclass either made extra thousands of dollars a month, or they were able to structure their business in a way that they felt like they were making better choices. No one that increased their prices already after this masterclass has not made their money back. So when I'm doing my pricing, I want to make sure that people feel good about spending money with me. And part of that is using money as leverage, right? So why is this red bottom worth so much? Marketing, perception, right? And then why is $65 a good deal? A good price to just put on a replacement red sole? When $65 to add a red sole, when this whole shoe is $100. It's because that's 10% or less than 10% technically of this shoe's price, right? So when I look at that, I go, oh, well, this is $700. To buy a new shoe would be a lot of money, but to fix it would be a lot less money. This is why when we use pricing in a leveraged way, we need to do it strategically. I know that choice was very strategic. Someone strategically said, well, we want to charge way too much for, that red piece, because that's what people want. So how do we do that? It's like, well, $65 is more than enough to pay a cobbler and put that red piece on. People will pay it because that's what they're going to want to do. And what's probably going to happen is when they come in to drop off their shoe, we have an opportunity to sell them another shoe. Because that's what's going to happen, right? I'm going to go in. This red bottom will be all worn off. And I'm going to go in. And while they are either adding it on or when I drop it off, they're going to have an opportunity to sell me again. And when I come pick it up, they're going to have an opportunity to sell me again. So ask yourself, guys, which shoe do you want to be? There is nothing wrong with being a Clark. This shoe is a solid shoe. It really is, guys. It has padding in all kinds of places. I mean, this shoe, when I put this on, I mean, I can pull a Bryce Dallas Howard and Jurassic World in these shoes. I could be running after it, away from a T-Rex in these shoes. Right? I mean, they're fantastic shoes. They're well constructed. They're amazing. But they don't make me feel this way. You see that red bottom? And it's like sex on a stick. This doesn't make me feel the way this does. So how can we talk about this in our business? So again, if you're a Clark, and if you guys have heard me talk about soulmate clients with our Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, this is your Dunkin' Donuts, guys. This is not a Payless shoe. This is not a Walmart heel. This is a solidly constructed shoe. This shoe is not, people are not going to come back with this shoe and ask for me, like they're not going to ask for it to be fixed, right? If there's something wrong with this shoe, they're going to toss it and probably buy a new one. This kind of shoe is the kind of shoe that if someone asks me, I'm not going to be excited. I'll be like, it's just Clark's, if I even remember. And the only reason I remember the brand of this shoe is because it's a Boston brand, and that makes me feel like I'm always like, I like local brands, so they make this locally. Katna was saying, if I have to run from a dinosaur, I'm in trouble no matter what shoe I have. Thankfully, I think they figured out the T-Rex was not as fast. So I agree. If I have to run from a dinosaur, either way, I'm not doing well. But, if you're going to market yourself as a Clark, if you're going to market yourself as practical, if you're going to market yourself as, it makes sense, then just remember, you can very quickly be replaced by a Louboutin, right? Because this went from my go-to black heel, and now this will be, right? I would rather be uncomfortable and feel this way than be in this one, right? And when I think about if I were a business, a Louboutin business, a Starbucks business, I'm going to make you jump through hoops, right? I'm going to be super nice, but I'm going to make you jump through hoops. What was interesting is I didn't have this problem, but this store will sometimes actually make you give your name and phone number, and you might have to wait because they only allow so many people in the store. Not because of COVID, but just because that's what they do. Again, they're creating that exclusivity. So if I'm a Louboutin business, I probably charge top dollar. Maybe not the most money. There are definitely way more expensive shoes than Christian Louboutins. I will say, growing up very blue collar, poor, I used to think that these were the most expensive shoes until I found out that they're actually considered mid-range, which $700 for shoes being mid-range was very eye-opening. And again, the more I meet wealthy people, the more I realize how far I have to go to be wealthy, right? So these are considered a mid-range shoe to very wealthy people. And then someone like me, these seem excessive, right? And that's just it too, right? There are people that can afford to have a closet full of these or choose to have a closet full of them. And then there's people who would see this as a splurge. So with either shoe, we have different customers, and they could be the same customer. But if this business makes me feel good and better and important and wonderful, why would I buy this shoe? After having this experience, I don't know if I would want to go and buy another shoe from Clark's. Not because they don't create a great shoe, but because they don't make me feel the same way, guys. So let me give you some practical how-tos between the two shoes, right? So how are you making your clients feel when they walk in the door? Are they welcome? Do they feel important? I can't tell you how many grooming salons I walk into as just a dog owner or a potential client, and I'm treated as if I'm a nuisance. I walk in and they're like, what is this person doing here? Who are they? What do they want? Right? And if you really feel that way, just lock your goddamn doors, guys. If you don't want people walking in and feeling warm, just lock your doors. Coming over objections. I said some not so nice things, right? Your shoes are foot coffins, right? That is the equivalent of, I don't like foo-foo haircuts, right? Or, just saying like, this just seems excessive. And they have an opportunity, and we have an opportunity to change their minds. Now, we're not going to change everyone's mind. If I felt like this Clark shoe is excessive, if I felt like this $100 shoe is excessive, then I'm not going to buy this. Unless if this is a one-time in my life splurge. So knowing your audience. But she very matter-of-factly came over my objections, and I'm sure she's practiced them 1,000 times. And she's probably said all of that 100 times. But every once in a while, it leads to a customer. And then guess what? It might lead to a lifelong customer. Because I can afford a $700 shoe. Not every week, not every month, but I can afford a $700 shoe. And if you make me feel that way, right, then I'm more likely to do that. Megan is saying, exclusivity and a more interview style admittance for new clients has helped attract my soulmate clients. Absolutely. And there's different ways of doing it for every business. You may want to be more of a Clark. You may want to be more of a Dunkin' Donuts client. It really depends upon what you want. There's nothing wrong with having everyone interview or have everyone book online, and then when they come in, you're basically interviewing them. All that matters is finding your soulmate clients. And part of that is knowing which shoe you are. And the only thing I will say is that if you choose to be, I use the term pay less, but we can also say Walmart heel. If that's your brand, I would be very careful. Because the only reason people buy shoes at Walmart is because they're cheap. Right? Because someone would be like, they're cute, but, right? Or they're good value for Walmart. But if I put that Walmart shoe at Clark's, I'd be really disappointed in the quality, right? Or Clark's would not be able to make the same amount of money. And Louboutin could not hire the level of customer service if they didn't charge enough. I am sure this sales agent got at least $100 for this, selling these shoes. They must have made more money, right? Because she's got to be rejected over and over and over and over again. So she makes good money. And if she makes good money, then she's going to be more likely to keep staying there and keep selling. So I want you to ask yourself, what shoe company are you? And are you okay with that? And again, you might personally be, I definitely grew up, best case scenario, a Clark. Probably more pay less. The way I explain it growing up is that there was nothing wrong with us, but like my mom would tell us all the time, like, oh, there's a brownout. And I would go to my neighbor's house and be like, oh, aren't you like, how are you watching TV? There's a brownout. And it's just because she hadn't paid the electric bill. And it's okay. I don't blame her. People just do the best they can. But now that I have more money, what do I want to spend my money on? And with your clients, if your demographic is, let's say, in their 20s, They're not going to have the same amount of money than somebody in their 30s or 40s. Someone in their 30s and 40s is not going to have the same amount of money someone in their 50s does. You know, the amount of money that I'll be able to blow on my pets or my grandchildren in my 50s or 60s is going to be very different than the amount of money I had to blow now or in my 20s. Alternatively, you could have somebody in their 50s who doesn't have anything to show for their past careers and doesn't have that money, and they're almost the opposite, where they say, oh, I'm on a pension, I'm on a budget, etc. So if I had a 50-year-old woman who had saved up her money and wants to feel important and good, she's going to buy this shoe. She might also buy this shoe, but when she wears this, she's going to feel really sexy and empowered. And it's just a shoe, guys. It's just a freaking shoe. It's just a red painted shoe. And they patent this because they're brilliant. And the reason I go to Starbucks is because they make me feel good. They make me feel important. They make me feel wanted. I pay double, if not triple, for a latte than I would at Dunkin', definitely McDonald's. Because they make me feel good. Because they remember who I am. Because they say, hey, River, how is it going? You know, and it's those little things, those little connections that people are willing to pay for. And I want you guys to remember that when you're building your business. You are way too often trying to sell things that people, and I hate to say it this way, don't give a shit about or don't understand why they should care. For instance, education. They don't understand that they hear grooming school and think everyone went to grooming school like everyone went to beauty school, right? They don't understand that we're not licensed. They don't understand that you can just pick up a clipper at Walmart and become a groomer. That's crazy, right? You have to go to school to paint nails, but you can shave a dog with no licensing and no oversight. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be licensed. I'm just saying from a lay person's perspective, that seems crazy, right? So there's that. I also want you to consider from an owner standpoint, they don't understand that pet products, there is no doggy FDA. There is no one really overseeing what products are in pet products. Pet products are not overseen as much as things are overseen in the human industries, right? You know, no one's gonna recall shampoo if a dog dies. They're not going to, unless they voluntarily do it. You know, we have seen products kill pets like Hearts, you know, and I hate to name names, but like their flea and tick stuff. And I hate to say it that way, but if we see a post like dog killed by Hearts flea and tick stuff, we're like, how is this stuff still on the market? Right? So I want you to consider all of that. And then ask yourself, what is it that somebody would want? If this person sold me on the construction, which is something I care about, but that's not going to convince me because this is all one sole. It's very well designed. The stitching is elegant. You know, the way that the bottom is on, I mean, this is really, really well done. You know, everything is handcrafted. It's a beautiful shoe. But she didn't sell me on that because that's not what's going to sell me on a $700 shoe. That might sell me on a $100 shoe. Right? Because if I asked why should I pay $100 instead of $40, they might talk about the construction of the shoe. That's where they say, well, in a $40 shoe, the heel is going to be separate, so it's more likely to break off. The leather is not going to be real. There's not going to be the same stitching or padding or anything like that, right? You're going to give me practical reasons, right? But isn't it interesting that to go from 40 to 100, they'll talk about practical things versus a $700 emotional thing. And this is all marketing. This shoe feels like success. This shoe feels like I've made it. This is just a nice shoe. So how do you make people feel important to come to your grooming salon? Membership models, exclusivity. Like Megan said, if you want to interview people, have consultation grooms. Every new client has to be the last client of the day. Pick one day a week if you don't have much room. Let them do consultation grooms, and then you decide whether or not they could be a part of your business. It's so often that we, as the consumer, are used to feeling like the decider. And so when you give them that country club experience, that interviewing and are you good enough to have our product, we create that exclusivity, right? And it makes you feel important. And that's sometimes what marketing is. And it's not a manipulation. They are lucky to have you as their groomer. They are lucky that you are willing to work with them. So how are you going to do this in your business? Well, again, hashtag shameless sales pitch. If you come into our 6-week pricing increase masterclass, what you're going to learn is how much money you've invested in your business. You're going to learn all about how to create pay structures, learn more about soulmate clients, and find out what it is that makes you special. And then you're going to figure out how to talk to your clients. Now, talking to your clients is just as important as it is to create that sales pitch and creating that leverage in your business. Making a $60 bottom feel like a deal, right? How do you do that? Well, there's lots of ways of doing that in your business. And what's awesome is that in this masterclass, it's going to give you the opportunity to discuss that during our spotlight questions. Now, if you're not ready right now to dive into that price increase masterclass, I highly suggest that you consider hopping into our group mentorship. Our group mentorship is going to be opening up August 1st through the 3rd. Our group mentorship is only open a few days a month. And the reason that is because when we have people add into our group mentorship, we look at where everyone lives in the world so we can figure out time zones and how many people are there. And then Quincy and I create a schedule. Right now, we're only live for an hour and a half on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. However, the more people that are in that group, the more opportunity we're going to give them to hop on group lives and ask questions. And I think that's the main thing. That's going to help you guys be able to answer the questions that you have. Now, of course, I love when you guys do one-on-one coaching. You know that. I love answering your questions one-on-one. And if not, even if you guys want to just hop into our free Facebook group called Savvy Pet Professionals, where we talk about personal finance, business, and lifestyle, you guys may even be in there right now watching this live stream. I love when you guys are there. So I hope this was helpful, guys. And I know it's kind of a fun metaphor. And who doesn't love shoes? It's not even like I'm going to wear these things often. But I want you to ask yourself, do you want to be a Clark or do you want to be a Louboutin? Now, this means they have to sell way less shoes. For every 7 shoes I sell, I just need 1 sale here. So the level of customer care has to be significantly better. But I need less customers than this shoe. So just consider it, guys. And I will have to bring them when I go to Super Zoo. And yeah, I feel like, they're not the worst shoes I've ever worn, but they're not comfortable, guys. They are not comfortable. They are sexy, but they're not comfortable. And I'm okay with that. I'm like, you know what? Nothing's perfect. It is what it is. So I had a lot of fun shopping with them and finding them. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode called A Tale of Two Shoes. I hope it was a fun metaphor and you guys really enjoyed it. And I cannot wait to see you guys next week. And yeah, all right. So you guys have a great Monday, as always. I gotta find my little thing. It's so funny. I'm always losing stuff on this intro thing. Like, I swear to God, technology is not my friend. I really appreciate being here because then I get to talk with you guys live and stream this stuff. But man, some days I just feel like, what the hell am I doing? So guys, as always, have a great evening. I hope this was enlightening. Happy grooming.